Is it? Do you hear the feedback again? When you get a chance, Lizzie, let me know.
Okay, say something.
Oh, no, maybe it's not.
No, I don't hear any
No,
feedback.
neither do I.
Nope, no feedback. No, we don't hear anything. I just hear you jammering on. Sup, Greg?
Jibber jabber.
Mm-hmm.
He is a jibber jabber.
Mm-hmm.
You know that person
Is a jibber jabber
at work? Does anybody work? That person just talks and talks and talks and talks.
Uh-huh.
I don't hear you.
No,
buddy.
we cannot hear you, Greg. Literally, we can't hear you.
We did that on purpose.
We're talking about you.
Don't you wish there was a button on me?
Yeah, we did. We turned your microphone off permanently. He was talking about
Joe showed us a mute button for Greg when he's in.
Mute Greg.
He created it 2 nights ago.
He knew you were coming. He's like, have you ever met anybody that's a jibber jabber at work?
Greg has a gift for gab.
A gift for gab. Mm-hmm.
How you doing today, Greg? Appreciate you being
good.
in the studio.
I'm good.
You're learning the system for us. You'll be in this week. Joe's leaving.
Not permanently.
He may leave.
Well, because he's
Florida sunshine.
Nobody can replace Joe.
No. But I get if you would go to Florida and you just never come back, especially when it's like cold.
Well, the problem is when you visit nice
places,
warm, everybody's like, oh, I could live here for the rest of my life. You know, you come back and then you get back into reality, then it leaves your mind for a little bit.
Yes. But while you're there,
when you go, I could see myself living here. Everybody goes through it. They do.
And then,
so Joe, when you come back, you're going to go through that feeling again. And you're just going to get over it in a couple of days and you're going to be right back happy with cancel this.
Every time I go down there, I want to stay.
I know.
I think most of us
I love
do.
Sarasota.
Yeah. We go down to places and then if I could live anywhere else, it would be Gulf Shores. But
actually, Joe, I hear that's where all the Afghanistan and Iranian and Syrian illegals are going. Okay. So you don't want to go there. It'll be nice this trip, but just imagine it being overflooded with illegal aliens.
Right.
They got to go somewhere. They're going to go warm. They're not coming to Missouri, North Dakota, and Minnesota.
Well, I don't know. Everybody came up from Mexico where there's palm trees, so I don't know.
Oh, there you go. Good point. People vacation in Mexico, and then those people are trying to escape.
It's a show before the show, guys. Good morning, Kimberly. Hey, Ben and Bendy and Sherry and Trisha. Good morning to everybody. Hey, if you guys know of any national companies or have contacts that we can speak to about the possibilities where we might be able to help a company promote themselves, let us know. We have some massive numbers. And in the podcast industry, when you have a certain amount of numbers, it means a certain ad rate.
Yes.
And
we've achieved it now.
Yeah, now the national companies would really think that we can help and partner with people and really help them. Local, but also national.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, Mary Jo and Derek. David Sparks, I'm sure your wife has you in line.
Yeah, I do. That's a joke. I got jokes. October.
Really sad state. We're national headlines. We do a little bit. We haven't done a much local in St. Louis in a long time.
No,
we broadcast out of St. Louis for a national show. But my, oh my, not one, but 2 high schools with really good high school football programs have gotten caught cheating using illegal players. I mean, who are the coaches that you're responsible to know who on your team is eligible and is ineligible?
Coaches know.
And you can't just try to justify if a kid is or isn't. And we're going to know more today, tomorrow, but
wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's just sad sad. And these are dominant teams.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sad. Can you
say it yet? Who they are?
Well, one was St. Mary's, but they're not dominating this year. No. They had to forfeit 1 game this year, but another team, the name has not yet been said, but let's just say they're one of the best teams in the entire state, no matter what class.
And they've already been saved by
And they're out of the city of St. Louis.
correct. And they were going to close, and now they're saved, and now they're cheating. Shame on them. Shame on them.
It may it's just sad. It just hit me a little bit ago when I saw that. I was like, David says, yeah, coaches know.
Yeah,
And this
he's a
happens
coach,
all
so
over
he knows.
America.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Dave's a track coach.
He is.
You know if your kids are eligible or not.
He knows. So
That's
he
why
knows
I just wish
cheating.
these state organizations would immediately fire the head coach.
Yes.
Fire him
Mm-hmm.
or her. And that stuff will more than likely stop.
Correct.
And because I think in Misha in the state of Missouri, they'll just make them forfeit those games. And then everybody goes on and still plays in the playoffs.
Yeah. Wow. I can believe it was St. Mary's, but I don't know who the other two are.
That was one. And I'm not saying the other school name until it's all official today. But the reports are coming out.
Got it.
Just the links to go. But you know what, though? Now it's like.
Cheating.
Yeah. No, it's not Lutheran North, David.
A Ritter.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying I know it's not Lutheran North 100% for sure.
But you didn't say it wasn't Ritter.
Because I don't know if it is or if it isn't.
Okay.
But I know 100% it's not Lutheran North.
Got it.
Let's see the show before the show, guys. You know what? Greg, do you know how to run commercials? All right. We're just about at 8:00. Let's go ahead and start the show, and then we'll come back. We'll do our quick intro, then we'll get to our commercials, okay? I was just checking to make sure, but we can go ahead and start the show now, all right? Hey guys, welcome to Cancel This. It's cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks. We've got Greg LaRock. It's actually Corell. Is it Corell or Coral? I'd like to call you Coral. Greg Coral.
Been called that plenty of
Like
times.
moral. Like a moral.
Corelli.
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 We'll come up with
LaRock.
We'll come up with a nickname for you
I'm
at some
sure
point in time.
you will, Vic.
Pro Joe's also here running the boards. All right, guys, it is Tuesday, October 17th. We're going to get into the podcast in just a bit. Another big show today. We've got good news. We got bad news. We got all kinds of news. We got topics all around. Lizzie, I'm glad you sent me video of Janae Edmondson walking.
Mm-hmm.
Remember Janae? Tragic story. She lost her legs in St. Louis City because a guy who should have been behind bars was out driving illegally without a license and smashed into her, taking her legs. We'll show you the video of Janae. She is trying to make a strong comeback for her. God bless that girl. Joe Biden, I say this loosely, he's visiting Palestine before he ever visited East Palestine, Ohio. Anyway, we'll get into that. Looks like Jim Jordan is going to muster up enough support. We'll see. A Missouri congresswoman playing into that whole mix. Ann Wagner, believe it or not, we like to think we have a little power on this show.
I think we do.
And it's not just us. It's you who make this show. Live podcast Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central and all the time on our website, cancelthisshow.com. We'll explain that situation. Hey, Chicago, nice job. You're now giving $9,000 per families who are immigrants in need of some housing or rental assistance. I could use some rental assistance.
Most people can.
$9,000. This on top of $60 million that the city's already spent for staffing. It's going to run out. You can't just print this money. You can't give it away. I mean, seriously, who thinks that this is responsible? Bad stuff going on. We're going to show you a video of a checkpoint on the southern border.
Mm-hmm.
Mexicans can't come in, believe it or not, right there.
Correct.
Americans can't leave.
Mm-hmm.
But who's coming in?
Illegals.
Illegals get to come in.
Illegals are coming in.
Yeah. We're going to take you right to your happy place. Just come right on in. And it continues to happen all under Joe Biden. The crap wasn't happening under Donald Trump. It just wasn't. And makes you wonder again, why does the deep state not want Donald Trump in office? You're going to hear from a billionaire Democrat, a billionaire who says he appreciates and misses Donald Trump's policies. He says the Trump derangement syndrome, is that what it's referred to, did more to hurt him than he ever did to hurt himself. Just fascinating stuff. Don't know what you got till it's gone. That's what that falls under. That's for sure. We've also got a couple other stories we'll get into as well. We love your posts. We love your comments. If you guys have ideas, let us know. Jump in, be a part of the show. Canceltheshow.com. First, take a look at some of our advertisers, our sponsors. If you know of anybody that we can jump in with, let us know. We've got a pretty good reach. I mean, last month we were like 333,000 audience reach.
Yes.
Fantastic. We know we can help some companies jump in and start partnerships with companies as well, because we know we have a good reach, not only locally, but across the country. And of course, we do have a couple listeners internationally. Back in just a couple minutes with canceltheshow.com.
Oh, wait. What? No response? Hi, I'm Curtis Barks with Complete Auto Body and Repair, offering full service and auto repair to St. Louis and St. Charles. We are looking for someone to say polo. That's right, we are hiring. We want you now. If you would like to work in a well-paying environment, then you owe it to yourself to stop by one of our 6 Complete Auto Body and Repair locations. Will you help me find that missing person? Please call me directly at 636-488-HIRE. That's right, 636-488-4473.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixes cars.
Kathy O. Big Strick, owner of Experienced Real Estate Partners with eXp, has been one of St. Louis, Missouri's highest selling groups for 26 years running. In that time, Kathy and her team have successfully assisted an incredible 4,000 families. So if you're thinking about buying, building, or selling, be sure to put Kathy's group and their experience to work for you, and you can expect to be moved. Just give her a call at 314-276-SOLD. That's 314-276-7653, or find her online at experience-re.com.
Attention, anyone who served, lived, or worked at Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987. Camp Lejeune's drinking water was dangerously toxic, and base personnel and their families have since suffered cancer and other illnesses. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and were diagnosed with cancer, you may be eligible for significant compensation. Call the Driscoll firm now. Consultations are free, and you won't pay a fee unless we get you the money you deserve. 1-800-805-4800.
As all of you may know, the home of the Cancel This studio is located at the all-inclusive private jet hangar, Strategic Air Services. Founded in Chesterfield, Missouri, they take pride in offering a meticulous approach to private aviation through services that fully manage your trip from takeoff to landing. Strategic Air Services is more than just storage for your aircraft. They offer state-of-the-art amenities to its members and guests. When you are not traveling, you have the luxury of enjoying their world-class gym, conference rooms, lounges, and so much more. Strategic Air Services offers an unparalleled luxury experience for all things private aviation. If you're looking for a new place to call home for your aircraft, give them a call today at 636-400-7601. Again, that's 636-400-7601, or visit their website at strategicairservices.net.
Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, if you don't know, is a family-owned business that has been around since 1994, serving some of the best chicken wings in town, no joke. Also known for their fresh burgers, pizza, and incredible smoked meat. Top-notch happy hour specials are included, plus live music every Friday and Saturday. Oh yeah, you can also enjoy their spacious heated covered patio. It's Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, 18,000 Chesterfield Airport Road. Hey guys, welcome back to canceltheshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks, Greg Corral, LaRocca, producing the show for us right now. It is October 17th. We're ready to rock and roll as we normally do on the show Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, and all the time on our website, canceltheshow.com. News, headlines, politics, interviews, society, business, culture. You got it on Fridays. We get a little wild and crazy. You just never know what's going to happen at that point in time. We appreciate you jumping in with us today for the show. We've got a lot to get to, as we normally do here. If you want to, jump in, make your opinions known. We love it when you guys are a part of the show. We are grateful for that. I wanted to start with this whole situation regarding House Speaker Jim Jordan, because yesterday you, the viewers and listeners on this podcast, were telling us, man, what the hell's going up? We need to make our voices heard. Several people posted the phone number of Ann Wagner, Congresswoman out of Missouri, who previously said she would never support Jim Jordan. Mm-hmm. Not quite sure why, but whatever the case, that's what she felt. Well, in a quick turn of events yesterday, Gateway Pundit also reported that the phone lines were melting down.
Yes.
Because so many people were calling and telling Ann Wagner and other holdouts on Jim Jordan to get with the program, to please vote for Jim Jordan, who would be an outstanding House Speaker to take over the number 3 spot in our country. And what do you know? Ann Wagner gave in. Ann Wagner released a statement summarizing that she had spoken with Jim Jordan in a closed-door meeting and felt like he would represent the conservative Republican values that the House Speaker needs to have. I mean, it was written by a press secretary. Whether those were her words or not, she spoke them. She said it. She is now on board with Jim Jordan as being House Speaker. She was one of the holdouts. She is going over. Also, Mike Rogers, very popular congressman. Mike Rogers out of Michigan also was a holdout. And guess what? He's now on board. Now, we can sit around, we can complain and say that, oh, the rhinos were just forced to do whatever. Who cares? If they're rhinos, if they're not rhinos, they're now backing Jim Jordan. So maybe it's a good thing. Mm-hmm. Maybe this will help. The only things that I have heard said, the only issues that I've heard said by a holdout in Florida and I think one in, where was he? I can't remember. Maybe Texas was, well, don't force us to vote. Don't tell us or try to force her. There's a female out of Florida who's saying, well, don't force me. If you force me, then I'm just going to close up shop and I'm not going to listen to anything you say, even if it's the best person. Don't tell me what to do. I'm not going to listen to you. Jim Jordan looks like he is all of a sudden making a comeback here, and your phone calls lighting up these offices help. Remember what we talked about yesterday? Polite, persistent, but you have to be patient. Polite and persistent, but you have to be patient. We're grateful that you guys are there for us. And of course, continuing to show the reach that Cancel This has. Yeah. Are we a part of it? Yeah. Is it because of us? No. But yes, you guys are a part of everything that's going on. And we're grateful that you guys are doing that. We welcome you in all the time. Be a part of the show. Get involved. Do everything you possibly can. And what do you know? In the end, you just might get what you want. Other congressmen and women are now stating that we need to get a vote on him quick because there's a lot of work that needs to be done. They've been off for over a week, almost a week and a half now, not doing anything.
Correct. And they were off all summer too, for 6 weeks this summer.
So whatever's going on, just let us know. If you know of something else, if you made a call, let us know. We did get somebody yesterday that said they were making calls immediately and being told we will pass the message along. That's how you light up phone lines. That's how you get things done. You continue to call. Are people excited about Jim Jordan? I would think so. I mean, for those who get into politics, for those who have half an interest in this country's political system and what happens in Congress, yeah, a lot of people don't even know who Jim Jordan is in this country.
Correct.
But at the same point in time, that's the number 3 position. And with all due respect, probably the second most powerful position in this country over vice president. It really is. How does it make you feel? I mean, that you guys were calling and getting things done.
It shows that the people do still have a voice, but you have to be, like you said, persistent and polite, and you have to call and call. 1 or 2 calls wouldn't have made the difference. But the phone lines, like the Gateway Pundit said, was literally melting off the ringer because people were calling and calling and calling and calling, and it stayed busy most of the morning, and it only dissipated sometime after 1 o'clock. So that was really good news. So the people do have a voice, and we just need to use it.
And it's interesting because I read some of the comments that we have. Renee says, they are our reps. We are supposed to tell them what to do. We're not here for them. The reps are here for us.
Correct.
They need to listen to us. And that's why you need to take some sort of initiative. Just take a little action. It doesn't take a lot of time to do something like this. Aaron says, I blasted her arse on Twitter X, talking about Ann Wagner, Congresswoman out of Missouri. With all due respect, we've heard people on this show and on our radio show call her the ultimate female rhino, whatever that means. Invested in special interest with lobbying groups, with PACs and so forth. And I still don't know exactly why she refused to support Jim Jordan, but now I don't care.
I don't care either. She's
doing
the right thing now.
When you get what you want,
Then
this
be
is like an
happy about
argument just like with your wife and your husband, you know? If you get what you want, count your blessings and move on. Don't keep rehashing, well, you should have listened to me a long time. No, just move on. Whether Ann Wagner wants to vote for Jim Jordan or not, it doesn't matter. She is.
She is. Yeah.
And if Jim Jordan can get into that position, I know a lot of us here on this show, we study this stuff on a daily basis, feel pretty damn good about it from a conservative standpoint, which would then mean that all of the BS that happened before, I think we could say would be worth it.
Oh, 100% it would be worth it.
With Matt Gaetz polling what he did.
Yes. And I said that from the beginning. I knew that it looked like a shit show. I knew that it did, but sometimes we need a shit show to make liberty work, to make our country run right. And it's not pretty to see it, but you know what? Freedom isn't pretty. So sometimes
never has been.
No. And you have to, sometimes somebody like Matt Gaetz, looking like he was grandstanding, will have made a difference if Jim Jordan gets enough votes and gets in. It was totally worth it. Kevin McCarthy had to go.
And the thing about it, it's a perfect situation if it does go now, because Kevin McCarthy backs Jim Jordan. Donald Trump backed Kevin McCarthy. Donald Trump backs Matt Gaetz. Donald Trump wasn't excited about what Matt Gaetz did. He said it publicly, but he still backs Matt Gaetz.
That's right. And a lot of people.
And he backs Jim Jordan.
I love it. More people did not.
Now we got to get to work at the border.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Because there's a lot of crap that's going on there. So just remember, you can make a difference in numbers. It takes numbers. Going alone is difficult. But if you can get a lot of people to do anything in life, once again, you can accomplish things.
Yes.
Numbers help. When you get enough people to back you, yes, it helps. You can make a lot of things happen. I keep still looking at, are our comments updating on the...
No, our comments are not updating.
Why is that?
I don't know. I did tell Joe about it. Our comments are fine on YouTube. Our comments are fine on Rumble. So I think
it's our page because I see it on my phone.
My phone is fine. So that's why you guys will see me more on my phone.
It might be some way that, and I just want to make sure that everybody could see it where they are to make sure that they're updated because our comments are such an integral part of the show, which is why I bring that up in the first place.
Correct. Our comments on the Cancel This Computer in our studio are not updating. So we will miss a few comments because our computer literally gets everyone's, even if somebody's...
So that's why we take time to address it.
Yes. But I have my phone on now looking at it and they seem to be fine on my phone. So it must be a glitch.
So if you guys have an issue, just let us know. We just wanted to make sure, and I brought it up to make sure that you guys are able to follow along and see other people's comments because you guys enjoy and follow along with everybody else as well. Yeah, the comments are fine. It's an in-studio issue. I don't know what it is, but something didn't get plugged or something. I don't know. Okay, this is cancelthisshow.com. Let us know how you feel. Hopefully that vote with Jim Jordan happens this week. I don't know yet. I don't know when that's supposed to happen. What would be holding it back? You already know that the Democrats are not going to vote they won't get one vote for Jim Jordan. So you could only have a couple, 4 at most, vote against Jim Jordan as House Speaker. So, there you go. It is what it is. It's right there. I know that Fox is doing some live updates regarding everything. Jim Jordan was nominated for the position. He needs 217 votes. So we're going to see where it is. He's making final bids this morning. I know to try to they'd love to get a unanimous selection. where every single Republican voted for him.
Yes.
That would be a beautiful message to send to conservatives around this country.
Sure would.
It would also be a nice stern shot to send across the aisle to Democrats.
Yes.
We're united.
Mm-hmm.
A couple weeks ago, we may not have been, but we're united now. Whether we look like it behind the scenes or not publicly, we are united. And we're going to be like you Democrats who always appear to be united when it comes to votes like this, despite all the fighting that we know happens within the party. Jim Jordan said, walking into a meeting for a conference last night, he said he felt good walking into the conference, and he says he feels even better now. I just wish I could hear some of these closed door meetings.
Yeah. And I'm sure they're just talking.
It would be great.
And you know why they're stalling they're stalling because they're not going to vote till they know it's going to pass. So there's a lot of behind the scenes chatter, probably bargaining and dealing and all this. So the reason why I think they'll keep putting it off is they assuredly are going to win Jim Jordan's vote.
One other thing that I did hear yesterday, allegedly, there was still a push with some of the people, and it's not going to happen, to get McCarthy back in.
I know. I saw that. And if look who was doing that, it was Rhino type people, because Kevin McCarthy absolutely did not do what he promised the Freedom Caucus and other people he was going to do. He cannot come back in. But you know what? You're right, Vic. It looked like he was auditioning for like the last 4 or 5 days and just going everywhere, going on news conferences and going on TV. And he never said he wanted the position back, but it sure looked like somebody who was auditioning for it again.
And here's the thing. We try to educate you. We love it when you guys educate us. It's all a big conversation. It's entertainment. It's information to help you with your day, with your politics, your life, your voting. Remember, the House makes up 217 Republicans and 212 Democrats. So then you think about how voting goes from that standpoint. You can only have 4 people go against what you want as Republicans. That's it. Mm-hmm. But once again, you don't have Democrats. You never had that issue with Democrats. Correct. They are united.
They sure are.
Republicans are the ones that highbrow and, well, we think we're going to do this today because we're conservatives and we know better. And no, we're not going to give money. We're going to keep our money as well because I'm going to stop right now. Anyway.
But you're not wrong. That is so true. I mean, conservatives are very
Let's
divided.
overthink this.
Yes, let's overthink it. Mm-hmm. But if this overthinking and all this stuff happens and this little circus happened, because it's not an election year, it's not the end of the world, this could be good for the long run.
Joanna says, she is not my favorite politician, talking about Ann Wagner of Missouri, but happy she's voting for Jim Jordan. He is my rock star.
Amen. He's a lot of people's rock star.
And I was told that he was a badass college wrestler too, by the way.
Yeah, I heard that.
Jim freaking Jordan.
Yeah,
you don't want to mess with wrestlers anyway. And sometimes here, the only thing that I'd heard when doing study about Jim Jordan is that he was, quote, bullying tactics. But then anybody can call you a bully and have no proof of it.
Yep.
If they don't like the way somebody's talking to them, they can call you a bully.
Yes.
If you don't like what you hear, you can how dare you? You're bullying me. It's like, what? Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm just telling you this is what we need to do. It's my opinion. And a lot of times when you're an athlete or you were a former student athlete, you're more of a hard charger.
That is very true.
I know this personally. And you're like, hey, we got to get the job done. Everybody get on team or get off. Yeah. You're either with us or you're against us. And if you're against us, then we're going to kick your ass out the door.
That's true. I was a college athlete too. And that is how we get things done.
What did you, forgive me if I forgot about this.
Track and cross country, mainly track.
Are you serious? You ran in college?
I sure did. Yeah.
Will you forgive me for not knowing that?
I don't think I ever told you.
I don't think you did.
No, I don't think I ever told you.
What did you run?
I ran the quarter and the 800.
Damn. You liked abuse.
I did. I did like abuse.
Did you run in Missouri?
I ran at SMSU, Missouri State.
How about that, Lizzie? Yeah. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Does anybody else in this building know that? Or am I just finding this out today?
I don't think I've ever told anyone in this building.
I'm impressed even more. I coach track. I used to coach sprinters. I was a sprinter in high school. Wow.
Yeah, I used to be really fast. I could not even run half as fast.
Tara says, I'm a wrestling mom, so now I really like Jordan
Yeah,
even more.
That's awesome.
Mary says, Matt Gaetz told Newsmax support is growing for Jim Jordan. I think it's going to be a done. When you get Mike Rogers and Ann Wagner on board, I think it's a done deal. It is a done deal because she would not come out publicly and say that. Mike Rogers would not say that as well unless they know they're going to get that done.
Yeah.
Kevin says Lizzie has wheels. Mary says rock star Lizzie. Stephanie says, love that you said SMSU. I still call it that, as she still calls Hollywood Casino Riverport. That is the outdoor concert area in the St. Louis area.
Absolutely.
There's one of those in Michigan as well. It used to be an old name. Everybody still calls it the old name, not the new name, because of the adverse. What David Sparks, Lizzie's husband, chimed in to remind everybody that Lizzie was invited to the Olympic trials as well.
Truth.
Did you two meet on a track?
We did. We did. Mm-hmm.
It's a track romance.
Yes, a track romance.
I'll meet you at the long jump area.
Yeah. I'll meet you at the starting line.
Oh my God.
I'll meet you at the
I'm
starting
learning
line.
all this stuff in the podcast today. Holy crap. I literally do a show with a woman that was invited to the Olympic trials.
Truth.
In the 800 or
quarter in the 800. Both.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. That threw my whole train of thought off today.
I'm sorry about that. I just was trying to prove your point that people
when you ran, did you do your hair like you have it today so it wouldn't flop around in the wind?
Yes.
Did you have long hair?
You know what? My kids still make fun of me. I had long hair, so I would wear it like this. But then when I got to the point that I was getting ready to go to state, I cut it all off. And I had it really short, like a pixie cut, because I thought that if that even helped me a millisecond, it would be worth it. Now I'm like, for crying out loud, there's girls that are faster nowadays and they have the big long braids and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was serious. I cut it all
I like
off.
track people. That's really cool. Holy shit. Excuse me. Dave says, Vic, she ran a 2:07 800 meter. And that was I won't ask you to tell. It
was in the 80s.
That's a damn good time in the 80s.
Yeah, that was in the 80s.
Holy crap.
I didn't understand you weren't just supposed to run as fast as you could.
Aaron says that runners equal insane people.
That is true too. Runners are insane. I'm not a runner anymore.
By the way, if you want to know a little bit about Jim Jordan, thanks, Glenn, for the information here. A 4-time Ohio State high school champion, and then a 2-time NCAA champion. And if anybody knows anything about wrestlers, they're the toughest, most badass athletes on the planet, the most disciplined people that you could ever imagine, especially those who are trying to cut weight. Yeah, I'm all in on Jim Jordan being House Speaker because he's not going to take any bullshit from anybody. And he knows how to get things done, which is why you probably had some soft patsies going, oh, maybe his bullying tactics. Yeah, BS. Get on board or get out of Congress. Either do something or get out. Wow. So we'll keep you posted on what happens with Jim Jordan this week. Canceltheshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks. Best part of the day is if you were invited to the trials, you must have been ranked nationally.
Yes. That was a long time ago.
Long
time ago. Long time ago.
It's probably why we get along.
Probably.
You get me.
I do get you. I do get you, Vic. I do. For sure.
We love you guys jumping in today. You know who else? Who I get is I get Donald Trump.
I do too. I get him too.
I understand him.
Mm-hmm.
You complete me, Donald.
Yeah. If Donald came in here, we could both say to him, Donald, you complete us.
He was in the news a lot for a month straight since the situation and the attack. And we're going to get to more of the updates of what's happening with Israel and their offensive as they get ready to take over, invade Gaza, and what's happening with Biden. It's very interesting when you don't have, I guess we'll start with Biden on that. Isn't it interesting? He's going to Israel on Wednesday, which means you could kind of say he's going to Palestine, right?
Yeah.
I mean, loosely.
Yeah, yes. No, you can say
And
that.
who would have figured that Joe Biden would have gone to Palestine before he went to East Palestine, Ohio? That's no bullshit. Think about that. He still never has made any sort of attempt to deal with anything that happened there for those residents who may or may not be dealing with health effects for the rest of their life. By the way, if you forgot about that, that was, of course, the Norfolk Southern train. It derailed in the Ohio village of East Palestine. Hazardous chemicals all over the place. I mean, they literally had to burn it. The government came in to burn it. And he never showed up. Donald Trump went.
Yeah, that's exactly
Joe Biden never went. But I'm sure, if there's a media attention, I'm going to get on a plane and go to Israel/Palestine. Well, that's scheduled for tomorrow. He can't even handle that.
No, that is.
I mean, if there's a Biden number 2, just send Biden number 2.
Correct.
I know a lot of people would say just send Biden 1. He may not make the trip, but it's a bunch of crap that he's going there for media attention. He has no grasp of what's happening in the Middle East. He really doesn't. He doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
And he's not leading any of this stuff.
Nope.
Donald Trump, again, 2 days ago, reminded everybody there would be no World War III, which we'll talk about today as well. There would be no invasion of Israel if he was president. Yeah, it may sound like anybody can say that if they're not in office. We believe Donald Trump because of what he did when he was here.
Yep, true.
We had a good economy. Our borders were much more protected than they are now. Nobody around the world was starting shit. He made sure and then all of a sudden, think of all the stuff that has happened in 2 years. As soon as the cat went away, the mice started to play. And it has been a disaster worldwide ever since, which is why we know that there are forces at play. This is all planned because when you don't have a strong leader in what was this world's number one country, and I know I piss red, white, and blue patriots off when I say this, but we're not the best country in the world anymore. We're just not. We may be better than everybody else, but we can't say we're best.
I still think we're the best. I do.
This country sucks because of what's going on.
I agree.
We have less freedoms than other countries around the world.
Ugh.
And that's just a fact. And it's so bad that Democrats who can't stand Donald Trump are now even admitting publicly. They're admitting publicly what Donald Trump was, what he meant, because sometimes you have to lose something before you realize what you had. Unfortunately, in the case of America, I'm concerned it may be our freedoms and it may be the wonderful lifestyle that we had. Just listen to this Democrat billionaire, Chamath Palihapitiya. I'm trying to pronounce his name right. Palihapitiya. Here's what he had to say about Donald Trump. This guy's a billionaire. He's had a ton of success. He understands business. And now here's life under Joe Biden.
Voted for Hillary Clinton. I voted for Joe Biden. But this is the honest assessment. The guy did, for the things that he was supposed to do, a good job. And for where every other president found a way to, frankly, make our situation a little bit worse, specifically around wars, he did not do that. And that is a huge accomplishment that I think needs to be acknowledged. As a Democrat who has been left homeless, who is now definitely in the center, but probably leaning increasingly right, I'm left yet again with an appreciation, despite the messenger of the message of the Trump administration, because what those guys did was pretty incredible in hindsight. These Abraham Accords, the accords with Israel and the GCC, the almost accord between Israel and Saudi, to really be able to find a long-lasting peace is just a real example for the world. And those guys did a lot of really good work. And
it's a miracle, actually, when you look at it. What they did, despite the fact, listen, I'm no fan of Trump, and I am too homeless.
But this is where,
it's a political party, but if you want to objectively look at what they did, it was good work. It was great work.
You have to. And in fact, this is a moment where you have to start to re-underwrite, is one's Trump derangement syndrome causing more damage than anything that Trump could have actually done? And I think the answer is yes, because it's now causing us to not see that good work and then embrace and extend it. So much of the work that happened in that administration turns out to have been right. And that's what's so frustrating for me. The work on the border wall. We didn't like the messenger, so we killed the message. Turned out it was right. Issuing long-term debt to refinance when rates were at zero, we didn't like the messenger, so we killed the message. A structural peace in the Middle East, we didn't like the messenger, so we killed the message. When are we going to stop shooting ourselves in the foot? And when are we going to actually see and take the time to look past who is saying things and actually listen to them word for word?
Wow.
I'm not sure.
Does that put thing? What do you want to say on that?
I'm with Tara on the chat line. I'm really annoyed at him.
Annoyed at who?
The guy that is saying that we're shooting the messenger. Because
we did.
We didn't.
Well,
but people like him did.
He's talking about his Democrats.
Yes, he is. He is. And it's like, would he now? He still doesn't like Trump.
No, he would vote for Trump.
Okay, I hope so.
No, he would vote for Trump 100%.
So.
That's why he came out. He's a Sri Lankan-born Canadian, an American venture capitalist, engineer, founder and CEO of Social Capital. He was also an early senior executive at Facebook. He worked on the company's platform from 2007 to 2011. He's a genius man. He liked making money. He was all about capitalism. He used his brain like so many other Americans before him have done and have been doing. And then he saw Joe Biden come into office and the people who control Joe Biden and ruin this country in a matter of years. A few years. And then all of a sudden we're doing things we never could have imagined where we would be 2 years ago, and Democrats know it. They don't like to talk about it, most of them, because they know they voted for Joe Biden if they did indeed vote for Joe Biden. And there are still those people who say, yeah, I voted for Joe Biden because I vote a party line. No way in hell I'm going to vote this guy. He's mean. His messaging isn't packaged the way that I want to hear it in my society that tells me I deserve everything and I get everything I want and I get to choose how I feel, and my feelings are more important than anybody else's, and my feelings are so important that I need to feel good. I need to feel encouraged by everything. And he's like, oh shit, my life has been turned upside down. We had it so much better under Donald Trump, which is why I wanted to play that, because you need to hear that. Most of the people who are here watching that go, yep, told you so.
Yep.
We get it. That's why we ask you to share the show, canceltheshow.com. Show people who you know. Send it to them. You don't have to ask for their thoughts. You don't have to say anything. Just send it to them. Go to our website, canceltheshow.com. We have a library of evergreen content that is there, especially in this day and age of 2023, where so much goes under the radar, because if you're still viewing and getting news and news information like you did in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, you're not going to get the information that you need. You're not going to hear interviews like that. When I read that, or when I listened to that yesterday, that blew me away. I was like, oh my God, finally, somebody who is known nationwide. Anybody with half a brain knows that life is much better with Trump. 100%.
Yes.
Now, the people who are racist won't say that. And there are racist people against Donald Trump, and there are racist people against what this country was under Trump. And they try to make it out to be something that it's not. Ask us how you feel when you see the migrants coming to your town, the illegal aliens, the Syrians, the Palestinians, the Iranians.
And they hate you.
When Hamas is coming, as they walk across the Mexican border, the southern border for Mexico into this country, chanting death to the USA as they walk into the USA, because we're just going to sit back. Where's our happy hour tonight? You know, we got our kids' sports and we're going to watch our Netflix. I love our listeners and I love you guys. And that's why we ask you to share the show, because everybody that seems to jump now, it can't be the case for, you know, the 340,000 that were watching last month, but man, the ones that jump in on the show, you guys get it.
They do.
You do.
They totally get it, and they see it from a critical point of view. They don't believe it just because we said it or another talk show hosted. They're good critical thinkers. And I'm glad, even though that guy in the video in the pink shirt, I can't remember what you said his name was.
Chamath.
Yes, irritates me because he's now admitting it after our country.
No, don't do that.
I know, but
that's like the people who didn't want Jim Jordan, but now are getting on. Remember?
Yes, that's true.
Once you get somebody to your side, encourage them.
Correct.
Make them a fighter.
I agree with that. But I still
They are the
think-
ones that have the Democrat friends.
and they are the ones that need to share the show.
Yeah.
They are the ones that need
Chamath.
to share the show.
Chamath, we want an interview with you. Somebody knows you. Forgive me if I'm
Yes,
mispronouncing your name.
Yes, because they finally woke up. It took literally almost the destruction of our company, our country is a company, to wake up. But things are never too late. Things are never too late.
Derek Pratt says, I'm looking forward to voting for Trump for a third time.
Yes.
Third time's a charm, of course.
Yes.
Mary says, me too. Chris said, I would say he didn't use his brain before former Vice President Sleepy Joe got into office.
Agree.
When it came to the election. Unfortunately, it took him the severe financial hardships his administration's policies caused to actually wake up, but understand something. As I've said before, as pride, it's the deadliest sin of all.
It is. It is.
And it is the one thing that separated, well, it's not the one thing, but it's the one thing that separated, because the devil is not on an equal platform with God. The devil is more on an equal platform with St. Michael, the archangel.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one thing that separated those two, is the fact that the pride issue.
Yes.
And that's why he was cast from heaven.
That's exactly
and that
right.
became the deadliest sin in this country. And then our pride, we refuse to apologize. We refuse to admit that we could actually be wrong. We refuse to make changes. We would rather we'd bite the hand that feeds us than admit that we're wrong. Democrats got it wrong. And there's proof of it. You did. It's all right. A lot of us get things wrong. We screw up. We make mistakes. Apologize, change, move forward, and live a better life. Democrats effed this all up, or the deep state did. They did, by voting for Biden. And now there's proof every single day, every single second. And if anybody wants to come out and admit that they're wrong, like he did, this guy is well known. Yet he has the courage to come out and speak publicly. He has the courage to come out and said that he's wrong. And he has the courage to be that poster boy, to be ripped by his Democratic friends. I love this guy. The people who are willing to admit that they're wrong and do it publicly and go, hey, listen, I'm moving on. You know what? Hey, we made a mistake. Let's call it how it is. Those are the strong people with hearts that get it, and brains. It's the people we need to be concerned about that are saying, oh, Joe Biden's doing good. No, he's not. You know better than we do.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's not. He's not moving this country forward in any manner.
Correct.
And if anybody tries to tell you that he is moving this country, I don't know, it's probably better to not say anything.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to win the argument. It's always better to win the war than to win the battle. But I don't know if somebody doesn't realize it by now, I don't think you're going to be able to change their mind, because pride, and people get conditioned for years, and it takes time to get things out of your brain. So I don't have a problem with this guy voting Biden first time around. That's how he was trained. That's how he was brought up.
That's true.
He's brought up in Canada, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Although my Canadian hockey player friends are some of the most passionate people in this country when it comes to politics and when it comes to what America used to be. That's for sure. I won't say any names, but they're very well-known hockey players that are like, they can't stand Trudeau and they can't stand Biden. And even if they didn't love Trump, they're like, damn, just what this Chamath individual was saying. They're like, this country was so much better under Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't deny it anymore. People may try to deny it, but you can't, because it's what's happening. So kudos to Chamath. He gets our award of the day. That's for sure. This is cancelthisshow.com. JM says, please don't shoot me. I voted for Obama once. Yeah.
A lot of people
did. I said on the show 2 or 3 weeks ago, my dad was in a union as well. And you know what? He voted for Obama. That was a different time ago than now.
Yeah,
much different.
I did not vote for Obama ever. However, we've said this on the show. I do understand people who did the first time, because the choices that went up against Obama were clearly rhinos. And Obama was promising good health insurance and a good change and all of that. It's the second time people voted for Obama. I'm like, okay.
Jody says, the hell with pride. We need to save this country. Yeah, I get that.
I agree.
But with pride, it's not something that you can just say, you get it. You see it through your eyes, Jody. But other people, and we all get to a certain point, it takes us different amounts of time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to stick my feet in the ground. I'm going to be right. Getting rid of pride has to be, number one, it has to be one of your own issues. You have to want to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be on your heart. and to go, okay, I'm not going to think too much of myself. I'm not going to just stand this ground, even when all the evidence against my point of view is there.
Yeah.
And it takes time.
It does. It does. Because
But those who could admit that they're wrong and move forward
Mhm.
and try to change are the best people that this country has, this world has,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Am I losing my mind on that?
No, you're right.
Jeannie says, we need more of him. Yeah, which is why his video needs to go viral,
Yeah, it does.
which is why many Democratic circles will not allow it to go viral,
Correct.
which is why we want it and try to show it to make it go viral, because it is powerful when you hear people like him speak.
Mhm.
And since Donald Trump has talked about the deep state, I talk about it here as well. Mary says pride comes before the fall, as the Bible says as well.
That is true.
Derek says the reason he voted for Obama is because Obama, quote, promised change. It sounded good. It was sweet. It was like candy.
Mhm.
That was all that was left in our pockets when he was gone.
Correct.
Was the hope for change.
Yes.
Jody says true. Megan Marie says Biden has no standing with the Middle East. I am truly scared to see what he does in Israel. I just hope he realizes he is in Israel, not Iran or Iraq. That's a great point, Megan, because we already know he has difficulty being on stage. I think most of it will be photo ops.
Yeah.
He'll be wearing his hat, and I've always noticed this when he travels, whether it's him or somebody else,
Mhm.
he wears his hat and these aviator sunglasses.
Yes, he does every time.
And you can't even see his face really.
Correct.
The last time I saw him somewhere, and it's interesting because when he's got the hat on
Mhm.
and the sunglasses, I haven't seen him trip.
Oh, that's a really good point. I never thought about
I didn't,
that.
so I didn't know if it was a
It's probably-
stand-in,
yeah, it probably
if
is.
it's,
Uh-huh.
I know you're the conspiracy, you got your tinfoil Vic again.
No, I think you're
I
right.
just,
I think it is Biden number 2 because he has the aviators.
they're always
Yes,
when he's
he doesn't
out.
trip. Yeah. And we know that there's 2 Bidens. We know that. So they probably are setting Biden number 2, but you know what? They have a different shaped head and the glasses and all of that. But I agree with Megan Marie that he's going to be embarrassing no matter which one he is, no matter which.
Chris says, I used to play weekend hockey games with a few retired Blues that were conservative from Canada and US born. Yeah, all the hockey players that I've met, known the professional ones, and I had that opportunity to get to know them from my TV career and just being out and about, knowing and running in some similar circles. Hardcore, and you know what? They don't give a shit if you care if you say anything to them about their politics. And I know,
Yeah, good for them.
and it is interesting because you're always, because in the 80s we were told, don't talk religion, don't talk politics. Those are things that are going to upset people. And yeah, and while it's true,
that's why we're in the shape that we're in.
If anybody ever complains about politics, then okay, it didn't have to be this way.
Correct.
You can always ask questions. You have to give your statements. You can ask questions to people if you're in a situation.
Yeah.
Benny says Joe will also speak with the King of Jordan and presidents of Egypt and Palestine. Chris says 100% Vic. So what changed? Jeannie says, I have no idea what Jeannie is talking about. Once again, we do appreciate people jumping in on the live podcast. That's what we think separates the live cast, as it has been referred to as well, because, you guys are a part of the show with the topics that we have as well. Biden's certainly not doing anything to help this country.
No.
Right?
No, I can't think of
why is he going to the Middle East? What's he going to do there?
Right.
What is the point of him going to the Middle East? Do you think Israel trusts his old ass?
No.
Hell no.
No, they don't.
You think Netanyahu wants him there?
No.
Hell no. Publicly, Netanyahu says some kind things. He thanked Joe Biden for his nice words last week, but Netanyahu and all these other badass leaders of other countries, they know who's the true badass for America. It's Donald Trump. Netanyahu is friends with Donald Trump. They don't respect Biden. Hell, it's a photo op. I mean, Netanyahu was even the person responsible for keeping Zelensky away. That's who told Zelensky, you're not coming. Time's not right. You're not going to be welcome here.
Correct.
So he had to go back to his little corner to count all the cash that America's given him and
Correct.
look at all the diamond rings and bling that his wife came and bought at a New York store, $1 million just about a month ago. And he can dress in his men's boot and stilettos and his leather gag balls and everything else.
Oh my gosh.
Because that's what we've seen video of Zelensky do.
That's true.
He's an actor. And as we all know, actors need what? An audience.
Yes.
He wants an audience.
Yes, he does.
He has to perform to the wall right now by himself, talk to the hand. So the last thing that these countries, I mean, the Middle East is looking at Biden. If he shows up, they'll be like, what the did you bring over here? They're going to look at him like, yeah, okay, this is exactly what we need to be doing. We need to do whatever we can while this guy is leading America. Or is it Obama? Because we know of his ties to Iran.
Absolutely. Obama is talking.
The billions of dollars that Obama, don't ever forget about this, by the way, the billions of dollars that he gave in his final hours of office to Iran. There's a connection.
There is a connection.
At the very least, and no hardcore Democrat who hates conservatives can deny it. We'll see if the $6 billion that we gave recently as, quote, humanitarian aid that's sitting in a Qatari bank really goes through or not. I know some officials, including Schumer, as I said yesterday, said that they're not going to allow it to go through, but we forget about things in weeks leading up.
Right.
We forget about some of the things that are happening.
Correct. Time goes by and then they do the very things we didn't want them to do. And he's going to go over to Israel and he's going to tell them to just calm down. I mean, did you ever hear him telling Ukraine to calm down?
Who's going to listen to him?
No, but he's going to be calm down, Israel. Calm down. We don't want you to, get all out of sorts.
It is a mixed messaging situation.
Yes, it is mixed messaging. And why?
But not everybody is telling Israel that they need to hold.
No, it's just Biden is telling it.
Iran is, China is, Biden is telling Israel they need to back. I thought he said that they have a right to protect themselves.
He did, but he's like, don't go forward real fast and you just need to calm down. And when he said that, I'm like, okay, what is the speechwriter that wrote that? They want Israel to calm down because they do back the Middle East, but not them. Think about it. Ukraine, they never told them to calm down. Never. I mean, this is such propaganda.
I love our listeners and viewers, and I tell you guys all the time because as much as we try to educate and entertain you guys do that with us. That's why I've always believed in the team concept of broadcasting and everybody coming together to share ideas. No one person. It's impossible for one person to know more than everybody else. You guys are freaking badass. Seriously, you are kick-ass.
They really are.
With the information that you bring to the table every day. And that's what this is about, providing a platform for you guys to do that, which is why we become popular, not only in the Missouri area, but around the country. Aaron says, don't be surprised if Joe scolds Israel and tries to stop the Gaza invasion. That's what Lizzie was kind of leading to.
He's right.
Megan Marie says, Anthony Blinken keeps getting shut down and Biden isn't going to do any better. I agree. BB is a great leader from GM. I'm trying to remember who BB is the leader of.
That is who, that's what Joe Biden calls him.
Calls who?
How do you say his name? Netanyahu.
Oh, Netanyahu.
Yeah, Netanyahu.
There's a special about him on Fox Nation. I didn't watch it, but I know his story. Chris says Syria pulled out of the peace treaty because of how weak the former Vice President Sleepy Joe was. I heard about that as well. Obama, Susan Rice, Valerie Jarrett. Yeah, and you know what's interesting too? Not only does Obama live very close to the White House, first president to do so ever. Why is he so close to the White House? Seriously, think about that. I'm not a conspiracy theorist for saying that. Why? Yeah. Oh, because I love DC. Oh, okay.
No, that's not it. From day one, he was there. He never left. He went and rented that big mansion and has been there causing problems.
Susan Rice is also close by.
Yes. She is.
Seriously.
Come on. It's wrong. Susan Rice is probably doing a lot of the talking in the ear as well.
I don't know where Valerie Jarrett is.
I don't know where she is either, but she is not good.
Aaron says that Roseanne was right about Valerie Jarrett, Obama's puppeteer with
Correct.
Iranian ties.
Correct.
Aaron Aaron says, yeah, all the BRICS nations Joe tries to emulate. Imagine that. Scary. Good God, help us all.
Mm-hmm.
What people don't talk about coming from Chris is that Obama should be tried for murder on an American citizen by an international drone strike. And of course, Netanyahu is BB. Thanks again, Robert. And trying to get all those in. He probably has a tunnel into the White House.
That's not even far-fetched. I agree. That's not even far-fetched.
And Susan says that they are running the country. Susan, Valerie, and Obama.
Yes.
Oh,
true.
Crap. Yeah. And I've heard, Robert, thank you again. I heard this before, but I didn't know it was family. Robert says Valerie Jarrett's family, which is Iranian, runs Chicago.
That is absolutely right.
So if anybody ever wants to know why Chicago stays a horrible, liberal leaning place when it comes to the crime, when it comes to sanctuary cities, when it comes to the illegal immigrants, when it comes to the illegal aliens, I guess you get an idea. And of course, Tara sums it up. It's a shadow government, people.
Yes.
Think about it.
It is a shadow government.
It's even lifelong DC residents don't like DC. That's what I've heard. I've got a friend who lives in the, is like, it was quote, it's a shithole. You don't
want to live there.
Now in the suburbs, there's some very nice places and there's a lot of money. Cause I'll never forget the first time that I went there as a younger adult. I was like, damn, it's beautiful here.
Yes, it is.
These were
Outside of
suburbs.
DC.
Yes, these were suburbs.
It's very, very pretty. But a lot of that is still liberal as well, because that's where a lot of the politicians live.
This is interesting. How about this? If this actually happened, Glenn says it happened. He said that when Obama was the president, he made Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel use the back door. He couldn't go in the front door.
That tells you everything, saying that that's true. And I would not be
He didn't
surprised.
meet him like the other dignitaries that he would normally meet.
But that makes sense, doesn't it?
Because of Obama's ties to the Middle East.
Correct.
It means
That
not
makes absolute
accepting
sense.
Israel.
Yes.
And it is interesting. Why would Netanyahu, and everybody has their positives, their negatives, their pros and cons as politicians. Netanyahu has certainly been ripped in the past, and there's been investigations into him. I don't want to act like he's an angel. However, he's not fond of Obama, but he's friends with Trump.
Correct. That speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Doesn't it?
Yes, volumes.
It does to me. Susan says the south suburbs where I was from are the pits. I don't know if she's talking about Chicago or DC.
That's probably both.
Yeah, Alexandria is the Ladue of DC.
Yes, it is.
I was there. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And we stayed there.
Absolutely
we went to
beautiful.
the inauguration. We stayed there, and I thought it was so pretty. But they didn't like, the workers in Alexandria did not like us Trump people wearing our Trump gear and stuff.
Well, of course not.
We've got treated pretty bad while we were there in Alexandria.
Another interesting comment. Susan says Chicago has always played dirty on the back of Abe Lincoln. What a great quote.
That is good. That is good stuff.
Then Robert adds, by the way, guys, Netanyahu bypassed the Obama White House and addressed Congress in special session through the Republican House. I didn't know that. And Jeannie says Obama made it very clear how he felt about Israel. He did.
He did. It was not, he didn't hide that at all. And he's still not hiding it at all. It's so obvious, and it's so scary today that all of the things that we're dealing with here in America with our open borders and our college students and in the big Democrat cities, you have, we're not talking about one or two having these big marches and parades for Palestine against Israel. And when you see those, I know our listeners know this, when you see that, that's not just being pro-Palestinian. That is, I am pro cutting off heads, cutting off fingers, toes. These bodies now, Vic, are in.
You can show the video, Greg. I think we have video of a rally from Michigan, Dearborn. We showed one from LA yesterday.
Yes.
And the one from LA shocked me. The one from Detroit, I lived there.
So you know about that.
Yeah. I was in those communities. I was in the mosque. I was invited in. I did a week-long series. on
that always concerned
Muslim.
me, though. And that wasn't me being racist.
Everything.
It wasn't. It always concerned me that they do not like Jewish and Christian people. And they're coming over here and they're staying here and they're taking over our towns. And when you see these marches, they are not pro just their country. They are pro killing in such the most heinous way. And they're finding out now that all of those things are true. These bodies were put in these morgues and hands were cut off and heads were cut off. It's awful.
I believe this is the video you were referring to. I believe. Anyway.
But the volume is good in the fact that look how loud they are. Look how many there is. That is frightening. This is on American soil. I get that it's in Michigan. I get that these things are happening in California.
It's Rashida Tlaib's. It's Rashida Tlaib's area. It's her territory.
Yeah.
I call it her land because when you see that, she owns it.
She does. She does.
And that's why she continues to get elected, because she is an example, a representative of her people.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Cori Bush is a representative of the 28% of people, maybe 25% that actually came out and voted in her district.
Correct. Not many, but she charges those people up. And this is not just happening in Michigan. This is happening all over the United States. If that doesn't burn your butt and kind of scare you a little bit, I don't know what is, because this is not just people that are walking around, say, from Ireland or Italy, and they've got their flag saying how much that they love their culture. This is people that are okay with slaughtering babies.
But the other thing is interesting. We had my friend Helen on last week, who lives in Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, and like I said, and this is what's interesting. This is where it gets weird.
Mm-hmm.
Her best friends here in the St. Louis area are Jews.
Correct.
She invites them over. They do all kinds of things together. She backs a march like that, but she says this is for the Palestinian people. But I think our difference is when you do that, it comes across as you back what just happened in Israel.
Because they didn't do this before the slaughtering of the Jews. They were doing that after. So maybe if they did this before, we wouldn't even be talking about it, because people have pride in their heritage. I do understand that, but they did it after. Shame on you. And I got a little bristly with Helen. Shame on you, Helen, and whoever else that backs it now. That is just ridiculous. It really is. They started it, and now we know which side. I mean, people are drawing the line.
Well, this is exactly why the governor of Michigan is so weak. Gretchen is weak. Sorry, Gretchen, you're weak. You just are, and your policies are weak. You got caught with your husband trying to get on the lake early above everybody else, thinking he was above the law. That's fine. I get it. You're trying to utilize your connections, but she's afraid to even say anything because these are the communities that are in Michigan, at least in one massive community, as we showed you the video, and the support that is there. And anybody that wants to, quote, take a deep breath and break this down. Men, women, kids, grandmas, shot, butchered, raped, stolen, kidnapped, held against their will. There's no justification.
None. There's zero justification.
So any parades or people parading, it's misappropriated. It's at the wrong place. It's definitely the wrong time to be saying pro-Palestine.
Correct. I wouldn't trust anybody. I'm just being honest here. Beforehand, I wouldn't have given it as much thought. I will be honest, it scared me a little bit because I know how people in that part of the Middle East think of us. They are born and bred to hate.
Well, yeah, and it's not the kid's fault. It
is never the kid's fault.
No,
but think about it.
I saw a video of a 3-year-old Palestinian boy the other day where his dad was holding a gun, or his dad was kind of helping. He was holding a gun, the 3-year-old was.
Yeah.
And they had like an Israeli design or scripture on a wall, and he was shooting it as a 3-year-old.
That's awful. And that 3-year-old though should not be seeing that, but of course it is. So that 3-year-old that looks cute and cuddly now is going to be his dad in just less than a decade. It's very sad.
Jeannie says, "Ugh, my mom wants me to take her to Michigan to see my dad's old Marine brother. I'm not excited." Hey, I'm telling you right now, Michigan's a great place. I lived there. I loved it. That's Dearborn that we're showing you.
Yeah, it's primarily in just that town. I mean, that is outside of that a little bit too, but to your point, Vic, that's sad. Michigan is such a pretty state and has so many neat things. And then look at this. It's literally ruining an entire area. I wouldn't want to live there. I would not live anywhere that the massive amount of people are driving down the street with Palestinian signs. There is no way. I'd be out of there. I'd be out of there so fast. It's just, I mean, because why would I be out of there? Is it because I'm racist? No. Is it because I hate people in general? No. But I do not like people who want to kill me.
Jeannie says, I think for some, what they're saying, I think this is like Helen. If you're Palestinian, you may not agree with Hamas, just like Muslims don't all hate Jews and Americans. However, as what we're saying, the pro-Palestinian rallies that are going on right now all over the world.
Exactly.
They're sending the wrong message at the wrong time.
That's exactly right.
That's what we wanted to get across. And that's
Correct.
what we're trying to do right now. And Sherry says, it's just like STL, St. Louis or Kansas City in Missouri. Our state does not support this.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, Robert, we talked about this about a month ago. Hamtramck, which used to be the largest concentration of Polish outside of Chicago, massive Polish community. Remember when I taught you guys about Punchki?
Mm-hmm.
Punchki Day?
Yes.
It's now a Muslim community. It changed. And that happened pretty damn fast. Because I'm telling you, it happened in the 10 years or less that I was gone from Detroit. That's for sure. Wow. It's a good thing to get into. Aaron says, and you guys are rock and rolling, which is why we were taking time to read your comments. We invite you into the show and we try to get to many of them as we possibly can. Ron DeSantis is right on this, according to Aaron. Nikki Haley, completely wrong. No refugees from Gaza. There's a reason Egypt doesn't want them.
Correct.
And you're going to see politicians start to say this. And I'm sorry, Democrats, these are what the politicians are saying when they're Democrat. Well, who's going to decide if you start to accept illegals, and these are illegal aliens?
Yes.
When do you stop? Who decides who can come across and who can't?
Correct.
Think about that. It's the slippery slope. Once again, it's all right. Let's bring some people in. You know, it's our heartstrings. Oh, really? Okay. Iranians go, oh, I see what's happening there. Palestinians say, oh, Syrians. Oh, Chinese. Oh, Guatemalans, Venezuelans. Oh, let's head in there. Anybody can get in. And then what happens is your whole message as a Democrat falls apart. Because then if you don't accept everybody, then you've already said we need to accept these illegals that are coming in.
We absolutely cannot accept those refugees in. We cannot. No way.
And then we can call them, quote, refugees.
That's just a nice
because it's a
word
war,
for illegal.
because it's in a war-torn area. Where are they going? Who's paying for them? How are we just going to continue to give them? This country is being changed by the second. No president in their right mind would allow to happen what's happening at the border. It became such a massive deal and a horrible black spot on Joe Biden's time here that even his own damn Homeland Security director, Mayorkas, came out and said, we're going to build a wall, then faced tons of backlash from his own party. That then he came out the very next day and said, well, it was taken the wrong way.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the invasion of Israel happens, the attack, and now we're not talking about the border anymore.
Correct.
This stuff is so clear as day to me. It's black and white.
Clear as day.
And do people care? Do you care enough? You do here when you join the show. We try to get the information out. By the way, Kevin says Michigan is an awesome state. Go. You will like it.
It is. It's so pretty. It really is pretty. Just stay out of Dearborn.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Glenn says, what about the unvetted Afghanistans that came here? Once again, same type of situation.
I wasn't for that either. People thought I was heartless and cruel and that you don't like people, that you don't want them. And I just said, I do care about people and I do have a heart, but you also have to be America first. Just the same way if you work for Pizza Hut, you don't then decide that you're going to have Papa John's all come in and eat all your dough. I mean, you have to take care of of where you're at. And by allowing everyone to come in like that, they're not sending, and we're finding this out now more than ever, they're not sending their smartest and their brightest and their most innovative. They're opening up their insane asylums. They're sending the people that will take the most from us. They're not coming here and making our country better. It is such a slippery slope, but I think we're beyond the slippery slope. It's just not good.
Jeannie says, guys, what's the difference? They're already here. Here's what I think. And I know that was kind of a, maybe a sarcastic comment. Yeah.
Sure.
Yes, they are.
They are already
But here's
here,
the
we
problem.
Can't let more in here.
You've got to cut the running water off.
Yep. Got to cut the bleeding off.
The pipe that burst at some point.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to clean it up. You got to take care of the problem. Then you worry about the flood, the water.
Correct.
After the fact.
Correct.
Donald Trump has addressed this.
Yes.
Because if you just keep it open, it's fast. Things are going to change very fast. The bathtub fills up with all the excess water and you're like, what the hell just happened?
Yes. And then it spills all over and it makes it all nasty and it's not good and we can't take care of it. And that's the thing with Americans is we are brought up to have feelings and to care about other people. But those feelings and stuff is now our biggest problem because we can't take care of all the things we thought was going to be good. And we have our veterans homeless. And we can't even give them health care, yet we have all these illegals, as you were talking about earlier, getting all kinds of money and free apartments.
Yeah, don't be nice about.
We got to stop being nice.
No, they're illegals.
Yes.
They're illegals, and your life is changing very fast, whether you realize it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Chris says, that's right. All the places screaming about the open-air prison are those like from Jordan, Egypt, and Lebanon.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? They won't accept the refugees from Gaza because they want the chaos and are on board with the destruction of the Jewish state of Israel. So if the Middle Eastern countries aren't accepting them, why are we going to accept them? Think about it. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not being heartless. And shame on people who are trying to put people in tough situations and pull on the heartstrings because of it.
Correct.
Robert calls it modern day busing.
Yes.
You can't be naive and think all people are altruistic. They're not.
They're not.
It's called discernment, once again.
Yes.
Shut the damn border.
It's got to be shut. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. And we're speaking to the choir here about shutting the border. But it's like, can we do the same thing and put pressure on the White House? I mean, I don't think so. I mean, a bunch of us called Ann Wagner and got her to change. Should everybody be inundating the White House? And calling and calling and calling and calling and say, shut the damn border. But I don't know.
The White House, I don't think it'll work.
I don't think it will either. That's the sad part.
This was a Republican who we were
Correct.
calling.
No, yes, that is my
Republican on Republican crime.
Yes. And you can get a Republican because even then even their donors will be like, okay, shit, I really didn't want you to do that, but you're going to have to. But you're right. We could probably be calling the White House and they'll just hang up on us or they won't even answer the phone. And that's scary to think that's our house. Our tax dollars go there. They've got the border open and there's not a damn thing we can do about it.
Yeah, we're going to show you one of these border checkpoints in just a second. We're also going to explain what Chicago is doing with all of these people who are coming in. Iranians, Middle Easterns, Middle Eastern, you name it. Just wait till you hear what Chicago is doing. And if you don't think Chicago has changed or is going to change fast, think again. But first we think Complete Auto Body Repair, Curtis Sparks and crew for sponsoring the show. Our main sponsor throughout 7 locations, automobile locations, everything with your car, A to Z. They take care of it. They're also looking for lots of employees as well. They're a massive organization and they're massive and they continue to have people who stay there, people who work at Complete. They just don't leave and they continue to buy companies over and over and over again as they expand all throughout the St. Louis area. If you're a technician, if you're a mechanic of some kind, give them a call, look them up, tell them you heard about them on Complete, or at least here on canceltheshow.com. They'll take special care of you. Let them know it's CompleteAB.com, CompleteAB.com. You're not going to find a better place to work with the climate-controlled facilities, with the paychecks that you're going to get. They have sales jobs open. They own towing companies. Just let them know you heard about them and appreciate them. Advertising on canceltheshow.com. Many of us, all of us have taken our vehicles there. You're going to be taken care of when you go there. Also, special thanks to Experience Realty Partners, Kathy Helbig Strick, Steve Strick, and of course the business that they have with New Age Health and Wellness. We get educated every Wednesday. The real estate industry is a mess. It is, and they're honest about it. Mortgages are a mess. When you need advice, when you need opinions about what to do, give them a call, but let them know you like watching them or heard about them on Cancel This. Tell them that Cancel This told you could give them a call. No strings attached. If you have advice, give them a call. If you think you need to do something with buying, selling, maybe something in the future, a friend, a loved one, a family member, whatever the case, you need to get things going. You need the advice. Don't do it alone. Too many people are trying to figure out this market by themselves. Hell, Kathy and Steve even say, listen, not everybody knows everything, but we're going to advise you what we're seeing. We may not have all the answers. Give them a call, 314-276-SOLD. That's 314-276-SOLD. And when it comes to flying private or luxury, or when you're just trying to avoid going through TSA, strategicairservices.net, strategicairservices.net, located in the St. Louis area in the Chesterfield Valley. It's where we broadcast Cancel This live out of. It's where our studio is, where we also have multiple other shows, by the way, doing podcasts and shows now. If you'd like to rent the studio, let us know. You can message me, Vic, at canceltheshow.com. You can message Lizzie at cancelthisshow.com, or Crystal with a K at cancelthisshow.com. If you're looking for a one-day trip, a longer trip, just give them a call. Let them know you heard about them on Cancel This, strategicairservices.net. You may be shocked at what kind of attention you may get. And of course, Route 66. New sponsor, new advertiser to the Cancel This network. When it comes to your cannabis goods and needs, you're not going to find a better product or selection than the products that they make. Hundreds of products. We talk to them on Wednesdays as part of our Weed Wednesday segment. Ham will be in studio talking, educating us about everything when it comes to making life a little bit easier for you and what you have going on. This is Cancel This, canceltheshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks. Greg Corral is taking care of the board today, Projo alongside teaching him. We told you about what was going on. Okay. Chicago, a once great city, is not so great anymore. It's just not. Now, can you go to Chicago and have a good time still? Yeah, you can. But how does this make you feel? With all of the problems, and I just think of veterans, and I think of homeless veterans, and how they have gotten shut out in this country in many cases, not being taken care of like they should. People who have fought, in some cases, people who've served to protect our country, not being given any sort of help, not being given any sort of respect, especially when they're down, providing a hand up, not necessarily a hand out. Chicago is now giving $9,000 in rental assistance to illegals. I repeat, Chicago has approved to give $9,000 in rental assistance to illegals. This is for temporary housing, and this is also after a medical. They paid a medical firm. The city did. I don't know where they're getting this money. They paid a medical firm a staggering $7.2 million for staffing shelters. That was for 1 week. They've got 11,000 plus illegals in shelters. They've also got 4,000 extra illegals staying, if you didn't know this, in police stations and at O'Hare International Airport.
That's crazy.
And this is after over 18,000 that they've at least counted, excuse me, arrived in the city in just 1 year. That was just 1 year, people, last year. Do you think it's stopping? Hell no.
So let me get
friends, family, they're all coming to Chicago. Hey, they're giving us $9,000 for temporary housing. This is in Chicago.
And then they can have a job as a cop.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's at least that is technically legal because J.B. Pritzker, the Illinois governor, made that legal.
I can't even believe we're talking about it. It's so crazy.
I know that $9,000 illegals getting rental assistance over a 6-month period.
That's nuts.
And Chicago's, their deputy staff are talking to people about it. Guys, we're in different times. When's the last time you got a $9,000 freebie for your rental assistance and you're legal?
Yeah, I can't say ever. Never. Not once.
Does this piss anybody off?
Yes.
And I mean, does it make you go, holy shit, look what's happening to our country? It's happening in Chicago. Why is it happening in Chicago? Is it because of what we were told earlier? The Iranian ties?
Yes.
What's to think that it couldn't happen in St. Louis?
Mm-hmm. Because it could. Because look where they're strategically putting all of these Soros-funded people. And Cori Bush is Soros-funded.
They don't help the homeless
and
the vets like that. What is their reason? Once again, that's how I entered that. Think of the homeless and think of the vets.
Mm-hmm.
And a high percentage of homeless are vets. That was you who said Pritzker's evil.
Yeah.
Shay says, F yes, it pisses me off. Glenn says, yeah, and leave the veterans out on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Pritzker pisses me off on a daily basis, says Michelle. I guess she's an Illinois resident. Aaron says, I'd love $9,000 a month.
Wouldn't we all?
I'd have a way nicer home. It's $9,000 over 6 months, but it's still $9,000 for breaking the law.
Yeah, breaking the law.
Yeah, buddy.
You get rewarded.
I applied at one point for state aid. The paperwork, the hoops you had to jump through for that, just for a $500 voucher for food.
That's it?
That's it. And then
$500
per month with 2 boys.
And you didn't get it, did you?
We got it eventually after I got a new job temporarily. But then,
wow.
The hoops you have to jump through, and then the paperwork. It's once a month you have to fill out something.
Yeah. And that's Greg, who is training to do the same job that Joe does as well, by the way, adding that insight. How long ago was that?
About 9 years ago when I fell heavily ill with the dysautonomia.
Well, I have a feeling it would be 10 times as bad trying to do it right now.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That's why I was asking the timing of when that happened and when you were trying to go through that. I mean, $9,000 over 6 months.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
I mean, how about $1? You broke the effing law.
How about you go to jail and get deported? How about that? How about that? Because like at our border right now, to go to Mexico, there's certain points that Americans can't even go out. And legal Mexicans that might be coming in here can't come in because they're leaving it open for illegals. I mean, let that sink in.
Shay says, but hey, at least we got free COVID test in the mail.
Good. Oh, I'm so relieved. I'm so relieved. Yes.
Megan's Chicago people need to do what New York City did. Protested, speak up, be loud. They did. Meet the migrants on the streets. It's not always the most safe thing to do. St. Louis is so bad that the illegals are scared to.
And that's a really good point because right now we don't have the amount of illegals in St. Louis City that a lot of our other big cities have. We don't. I don't know if it's that we don't have the housing there that other places do. I don't know, but we don't.
Terry says there's a homeless vet place in St. Clair, Illinois, and they have to fight for everything. Mm-hmm. They get no state help. Well, that's because people in Chicago don't think anything south of Springfield exists. Yet it blows my mind. The Metro East of Illinois is full of people voting Democrat. How do I know this? Because that was my family.
Yeah.
We always did. We were union. We're Democrats. Are you freaking kidding me? There are people that I went to high school with, super intelligent people that still think they're supposed to vote for Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
Super intelligent because of the place where they grew up. God, I hope it's changing. But Illinois is a bad place because of Pritzker and Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And people wonder, I can't remember the governor's name before Pritzker. I mean, he fought tooth and nail on a daily basis, and everybody thought that he was just combative. When you're in the fight and you see the evil that's going on and you want to fight it, of course you're not going to be able to get anything done.
Mm-hmm.
It's like ramming your head into a steel wall day after day after day because the steel wall is the Chicago politics that's been put in place and will never leave. And now look what's happening to your city. Mm-hmm. Chicago was a much better place under Republican rule. That is for sure. Chris says St. Clair County is full of liberal. Yeah, I know.
They really are.
And it's sad. And especially when Chicago doesn't give a shit about the Metro East. Not a damn care in the world about the Metro East. Shay says this is the nail in the coffin for losing the black vote in Chicago. That's true. Guess who some of the most animated speakers are at these public city meetings? They're African Americans.
Mhm.
They're the black community going, wait a second.
Yep.
You're bringing who in? You're giving them what? Where's our help? Are you kidding me?
Mhm.
That's happening on a daily basis. Great point, Jay, because I have seen that as well. Michelle says, yep, I have 2 aunts that voted for Pritzker. Shame. And that's in the
That is
Metro
a
East.
shame. That's a shame.
Um,
And they do it, like you had said, just because they've always done it. They're not using critical thinking. And sometimes these people are very smart. They're just not smart in politics.
yeah, and how about this? What has Obama ever done for his hometown in Chicago?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. He took and took and took from it. But
Dawn says, hey, Vic, my 70-year-old mother, when she was alive, said the same thing. Quote, well, Dad worked a union job at the vinegar factory downtown St. Louis. You know what? We're union. We vote Democrat.
correct.
But I never understood that about the Metro East in Illinois, only because the area voted Democrat. We're Democrats over here.
Mhm.
I would love to poll people in the Metro East.
Yes.
And by the way, for our national listeners, the Metro East is the Illinois side of St. Louis.
And we have quite a few listeners.
Yes, we do.
Metro
In
East.
Illinois, but part of the St. Louis Metro, far, far away from the liberal elites of Chicago. And let me tell you something, people in Chicago don't give a shit about the Metro East. Literally, south of Springfield, nothing exists.
Mhm.
And guess where all the political decisions are made for the state of Illinois? It's Chicago.
Yeah.
Yet you have all these people, we're Democrats in the Metro East, and your leaders in Chicago don't care about you. Yet we're going to be Democrats because that's what wins. I can only hope that it has changed for the Metro East because of what has happened
Mhm.
with Biden, with everything else. You start popping a lot of those illegals over in the Metro East because I know the families over there. And the families that I grew up with were not too kind to anybody coming in from other countries that were illegal, but considered themselves to be Democrats. Chicago's a mess. It's not going to get any better, especially now. How many people are they going to give the $9,000 out to? This just says they're giving it to anybody who applies. $9,000 for 6 months of free living in Chicago. They've already had 18,000 illegals show up in Chicago just in the last year. They're living in the airport. They're living in police stations, and all the shelters are filled up, not with homeless vets. They're filled up with illegal aliens, and veterans are out on the streets. They're complaining about it too. But guess who isn't giving them a voice? The Chicago TV stations.
Mhm.
They're not giving them a voice, which is why I led into this with veterans and veterans being abused and veterans not being taken care of. And yet you still have people electing the same people to office. And I still believe it's because not enough people are going out and voting. The same sort of voting rights in St. Louis City are happening in Chicago, 25%,
Mhm.
28%, because people don't give a damn.
They don't.
Your life is going to have to change, and you're going to have to go through effing hell before you really want to try to change something. And that's why we appreciate everybody that comes into this show on a daily basis and ask you to share the show so we can at least get the information out there. If people decide to do anything about it or change their habits or voting patterns or how they live or how they speak, that's up to them. But we're just trying to make sure that the information gets out there. Once again, you guys educate us and entertain us as much as we try to educate and entertain you guys. And it's not getting any better. And don't think for a second that things can't get worse.
Mhm.
We're like, oh my God, $9,000 for illegal aliens for 6 months of housing?
Yeah.
You're illegal? What do you think the next day is going to happen? We were blown away that they were letting people into this country and not protecting the border for many years. Now, not only are they coming in, Pritzkers and people like Pritzker are offering police jobs to illegals. And now Chicago is giving them $9,000 for 6 months. When does it stop? What do I always talk about? The slippery slope.
Mhm.
Once you start something bad, something wrong, even by the name of a heartstring, well, we're going to be nice. And no, it's bullshit. You got to put your foot down, because once you give in just a little, don't think for a second that people aren't going to pull it out this way. And 5 years goes by and you're like, holy shit, look at what we've given. 10 years goes by. Look at what we've done. 20 years goes by. oh my God, this place doesn't even look the same anymore. 15 more years, 35 years, we lost our country. And that's what's happening to the United States, which is why I say, and I know I don't want to upset you, Lizzie, Liberty, Lizzie, which is why this country sucks. I'm sorry.
I don't disagree, but
because we have political leaders, deep state, allowing things to happen. Get our mind off with all of these transgender issues. Don't focus on the massive issues. The attack happens on Israel. We're not talking about the border. We're not talking about the connection with Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, the biggest crime family that the White House has ever seen. And we're letting all of this shit happen in our days over and over and over.
Correct. I think the average person, especially the conservative average person, wants to still, and that's me, still wants to believe our country is the best.
Well, we have to believe. We do. We can't give up.
Right. We have to, and we have to keep fighting for it. But everything you said is not wrong. It's right. I mean,
we need to accept it and then do something about it, whatever we can do.
Right. I don't know that I can accept it, but I do.
Accepting, I mean, realizing and being willing to admit
that we have huge problems here.
We're not anything close to being the greatest country anymore. We have got to do something about it.
Correct. We're not, I can't even imagine if my grandparents came back who did vote Democrat, that came back here and would be like, they wouldn't even understand.
And I'm not against Democrats, and you're not. It's what the majority of that party is for or pushing for.
Correct.
And if you're a Democrat and you supported Biden, and he is doing what he is doing with our border, and he is doing what he has done with the economy, and he is doing what he has done with pushing for the transgender stuff that shouldn't even be a topic.
Correct.
With kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got a problem. You do. And I'm sorry. And that's what you're for. And that's another reason why this country is in the situation that it is. Eric says, why are we accepting anything? This is our way of life. They come here to live the way we want to live, but yet when they come here, they want to change everything.
He's exactly right. They come
the
here.
way they were back at their old country.
Correct. Well, they want
talking about illegals, not migrants, illegals. And I'm always going to call them illegals. I'm not going to say the kind words because they're illegal.
Yes.
There's nothing derogatory about calling somebody illegal if they are illegal.
Yeah.
You can't let, for many years, mainstream media tried to soften, and it's like, well,
they're still trying to do it.
Well, let's say something nice, and no, it's either legal or illegal.
Yeah, there's no in between. You either came over here properly or you didn't.
Chris says, I guarantee when former Vice President Sleepy Joe finally crashes and burns, to be able to return to the puppet and chief Boss Hogg will throw his hat into the ring. Everything he's doing is for the NWO agenda. I don't know who that is. Is it Obama? I don't know.
It's the New World Order. Yeah. And the New World
this has been in the
Order
making for a century. They had a plan.
They did have a plan, unfortunately.
They just needed to get 3 generations. Yeah.
That is true. And they softened our kids, got us to feel sorry for people, and now they're pouncing before Trump gets back in.
Here's a video that we were talking about when we talk about illegals and checkpoints and things that are going on. Lizzie, you found this video, and I saw it the other day.
One of our listeners and a friend of mine sent it to me.
And I watched it. This is a checkpoint. Just look at what's happening at a checkpoint. I didn't know exactly where it was. I think he might say it on our southern border.
He says it.
Of what's happening or not happening when it comes to illegals, when it comes to Americans on one side, Mexicans on another side, and what is happening in this country. And it should piss you off with what you're going to see.
This shouldn't only piss off American citizens, this should piss off Mexican citizens as well. I'm down here at the PedWest Port of Entry, San Ysidro Port of Entry, that is typically open to American citizens going into Mexico and Mexican citizens coming into the U.S. It is closed down now. You can see the signs out here, closed down by Homeland Security. You can't go in, American citizens can't go in, Mexican citizens can't come across. The only people that are allowed to come through are illegal aliens that are going through the CBP1 application. We've got some under the canopy over here waiting for a bus. They're sending them out this little side door over here, but they're allowing the NGO buses, these tour buses, to go into this secure area, Homeland Security secure area, to pick up illegals. This whole thing is shut down to you and me. And sadly, we've got contracted security guards here that are more concerned about me being here reporting on it than they are about what's happening in that building. The invasion of our country, Homeland Security being weaponized against America, Homeland Security, whose primary focus is on securing America, has been turned into a machine for illegal immigration into America. On top of what we just found out in Lukeville, that now we have massive numbers coming from Syria. We are inviting in the destruction of America, just like we saw in Israel over the weekend. That's what we're inviting into America. It's not incompetence. This is treason. American citizens aren't allowed to go in, but Jewish Family Services. How much is Jewish Family Services making on all the illegals? How much money are you guys profiting off this? You're inviting in an attack like we saw in Israel this weekend. That's what you guys are doing. You realize that, right? Jewish Family Services, they're here to pick up the illegals in that tour bus, inviting in the very people that will attack America like they attacked Israel. I mean, talk about irony. You've got Jewish Family Services in San Ysidro getting the contract to invite in illegals who we have no idea what their background is. Many from Muslim countries who hate Israel, who hate Jews, that then Jewish Family Services is sending into America. And they're only one. They're one of the 9 major organizations, Catholic Charities, Lutheran Social Services. But they're one of the big ones. It's like inviting Hamas into Israel. That's what these guys are doing here in America. And they're going to put them on that tour bus and send them to your community. They're loading up the bus. There they go. Into America. This is the guy from Jewish Family Services right there. So here's another bus. We've got one bus in there already. Got this bus coming in now. This is, man, it's just an industry now. It's the industry of illegal immigration. As soon as one bus fills up, the next one comes in. I don't understand how more Border Patrol and more CBP agents aren't outraged about this. I mean, they literally shut down this entire facility so that we could turn it into an illegal immigration operation.
All right, we can get off right there with what's going on. We appreciate the reporting that the guy did and he was doing right there. Yeah, it upsets me when you see it. Am I surprised? No. Does it need to stop? Absolutely. Once again, this is what's happening under Joe Biden's leadership as the president of the United States. It was not happening under Donald Trump. And if you think it was, think again. This is because of what's happening with the Homeland Security. Joe Biden has no idea what's going on. Even if he did, I'm not sure he would change his mind. Somebody else is running the country and allowing all of this to continue to happen. This country is being invaded at its border. It's been invaded at its border at the rates we've never seen for the last 2.5 years, and it all happened once Trump left. What do you do about it? You continue to get as much video out as you possibly can. Mm-hmm. You have great people like John Rourke, who goes there, Operation Cleanup, who we have on the show, the Great American Cleanup, who tries to get videos out to as many people as possible, and politicians and farmers and people who live on those borders. We are definitely, I repeat, definitely somehow, some way, forced to live with this situation because Biden and his administration has been hacked into. They've got something on Biden, the deep state that is, where he continues to allow this to happen because no leader try to go into other countries around the world and see what happens. It's here. It's here. It's the United States. And if you don't think that there's a bigger plan, I'm sorry, wake up.
Yep. It's a big plan. Like he said, they are literally inviting in our attack.
Annette says, what pisses me off is mainstream media will never show this.
No, they won't.
So many don't know about this. I'm trying to leave mainstream media alone. I mean, I've gone after mainstream media a lot, not because I hate them. They don't do the job that they should. Could they be a beacon of hope if they were doing what they were intended to do, what they did in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, even 80s? After that, it stopped. Yeah, but they don't. Once again, local doesn't have the resources and national's all bought and paid for. And people wonder, at least within those organizations, why their ratings continue to fall. Because people don't trust them. Every polling shows that they don't trust it. Yeah, you wish mainstream media would show it, but they don't.
They won't. They will not show this. And the irony of all of this whole video was disgusting. But the whole irony is the Jewish family services. They cannot be run by true Jewish people. They can't, just like Barnes Jewish is not run by a lot of good Jewish people. They would not run that hospital that way if that was the case. But Jewish family services, even Catholic family services, they said, and Lutheran family services, these organizations are not by true, well, maybe they think they're true humanitarians, but that's not what's going on. There might be some innocent people who really just love humanity, but what they don't understand is this is not what's coming in here. This is a business, a big money-making business. That's what this is. And a lot of these people don't care or even worry if there's going to be a big attack. They're just doing it for money, but they are setting us up for a very big attack. And yesterday,
it's very well thought out.
It is very well thought out. And yesterday I watched Trump's, I guess it was more of a speech than it was a rally, but it was a rally in Iowa. And he said, and I don't think he was just saying it to be exaggerative, he literally said, World War III is imminent. It is. And a lot of it, he went on to say, that could happen within our own country. I don't think he was saying that to just raise excitement level and just to hate Joe Biden.
Well, connect the dots on things.
It is. It's a fact. It's coming. We need to be very careful. You need to keep your head on a swivel and understand. And we need to figure out how to fight this. And the only way you can fight it at this point and this big of a level is to get Trump back in there and make people aware and run these videos and tell people and call the Ann Wagners and get Jim Jordan. And there is things that we can do and we've got to do them.
We appreciate when you share the show to let everybody know what's going on and what's happening. And that says what pisses me off is the mainstream media will never show this. We were just talking about that. Eric says this is totally treason. Biden lining his pockets with cartel money. And we need to get rid of the United Nations and its policies. Yeah, couldn't agree with it anymore. Megan Marie says CBP, the organization we were just talking about, that whole process is upset. But they know if they speak up, they're going to lose their jobs, their checks, and they have families to support. Once again, it's you're living to survive by the moment, by the day, because of what the president has put in place. When there is no leader, everybody and evil goers are going to take and do whatever they possibly can. Kevin says, yeah, guys, Vic, this has clearly been thought out and calculated. It's sick what this Obama-Biden-led administration is doing and has done. And we all know that Biden's not intelligent enough. He doesn't have the cognitive ability to do anything. So you know who it is.
Yeah.
It falls back on Biden, or Obama.
Same person.
We're witnessing the selling out of America before our eyes.
Yes.
And just go back and look at some of the things that we said a year ago. On the radio show and the podcast and all the things that are coming true and all the things that we've warned about that are happening. And you, with your Facebook post, with whatever post that you have, the things that you've warned about, and see how right you are. Jeannie says, now I'm scared. And that says, yeah, I get that, Vic. Mainstream media, nothing but propaganda. Yeah, it's a good word here. Donna says, fear not, for I am with you, but it is very difficult not to be.
And I do think that
Um,
that's the number one thing people need to do. And this is my opinion as a Christian. You do need to get right with God right now. This is a very big thing. And my pastor, who's not one of our pastors, was not even, he's not a fatalistic person, but I thought it was really interesting because he spoke in Isaiah and he was saying, think about how words matter. He said, think about the word will. And he was just saying, the Lord of hosts will make for his people a feast of rich food and will make a feast of fine wine. And he will swallow death and he will wipe away tears.
Yep.
And I thought that was interesting because God didn't promise us an easy time. He didn't. So you do need to I'm not being fatalistic. I don't think we're dying tomorrow, but we are in the time of prophecy. So you do need to get right with God right now, but I'm not telling you not to stop fighting. You do need to fight while you're okay with God.
Troy says the great whore America will fall. Aaron says worse. Carter had one blunder in the Middle East. Joe now has two. That's a fact. Not honoring the laws that were enacted for those who serve this country. No doubt about that. Yes, this country will fall. If Dr. Jill had a brain, she would tell Joe what is going on. I think she does have a brain. I think she knows exactly what's going on, which makes it nefarious, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
That's a sad, sad thing. Yeah, and I'm sorry, somebody just asked what town that was in, that border town.
Oh,
if you can find that, because I could not find that.
He did say it several times in the video, and I should have wrote it down. And
Tammy, sorry about that. We'll try to find that out. If you can listen to that or find that either today or tomorrow,
I will.
Ysidro, I don't know how to pronounce it. Ysidro, port of entry.
Yes.
No, the town. Is that the town? Is that a Texas town, an Arizona town?
It's a Texas town, I believe, is what he said. So I will go back and look that up.
Megan, this is a great point. Megan Marie says, had to have a Carter to get a Reagan. We had to have an Obama to get a Trump.
Mm-hmm.
We had to have a Biden to get a second Trump. That would be nice. I just.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
I'm trying to choose. I'm biting my tongue right now because I'm trying to choose my words wisely when it comes to that election. Lots of crazy going on. That's what we try to do here. And it is the fastest 2 hours in podcasting, the live podcast that we do. We're grateful for you guys showing up, liking, subscribing, sharing the show, sending us stars on Facebook. This is kind of a positive story, but it's also a negative story for what happened. Now we hope it can be as positive as possible as we move forward. But you remember Janae Edmondson.
Sure.
Janae was the young girl here on a volleyball tournament, say here in the St. Louis area, walking downtown, minding her own business, just doing what teenage girls do. When she was hit by a guy without a license, driving illegally, should have been in prison with the rap sheet that he had gotten out several times. Kim Gardner and her team of lawyers didn't put this guy away, allowed him to get out of going to prison. And then when he was out, he crashed into her and the accident took both of her legs. Her name is Janae Edmondson. Well, Janae, and Cancel This donated to her GoFundMe account. She's from Tennessee. Well, she was back walking this past weekend with her new prosthetic legs, and we're showing you that video now. So Janae Edmondson doing what she did to the best of her ability. Janae walking third from left with her prosthetic legs. She did it at her high school, Smyrna in Tennessee. And I just prayers for her family, everything that they've gone through. Imagine losing both of your legs as a teenager, and you were a star volleyball player, and you're just trying to walk back and forth from the hotel to the event for games. So she showed up at her high school. Gives me chills to think what happened to her in the city of St. Louis.
Yes.
Glenn says, I was downtown last night for an event. I had my head on a swivel.
And you need to have your head on a swivel. And I remember we were there. I did not see the accident, but we were there, saw the aftermath, didn't know right away what it was, but we walk out to her parents crying and cameras and all this kind of stuff. And you could see that there was an accident. And so we were probably just maybe a half hour from being in that same area at that same time. And the good thing about her family is they're a strong family. They're a strong Christian family. And
Bendy says her and her mom were just baptized together recently.
They were. So, I mean, this is one of those stories. They were a Christian family, but after that, they knew that they needed God more. And she apparently has a very good outlook and feels that God is still going to use her just in a different way. So, I mean, that part is really, really good. And it was the push to get Kim Gardner out. It gave just the last leverage.
It was
for
no doubt about it
for Andrew Bailey to get her out.
Yeah,
It shame somebody had to lose their legs.
Yeah,
though.
shouldn't have taken her legs to do that. It is interesting. Aaron says he hopes her family sues and gets every dime of the lamb's money. Yeah, I mean, of course, there's going to be a lawsuit. I thought if one hadn't been filed yet, that'll be massive.
Yes. They're going to need it, not
wonder
just
if that's
money.
where the Rams' money is going to go.
You know what? And if it goes anywhere, good for them. Good for them. I know some of the Rams' monies now is going to be paying $500 a month to people in the city.
Yeah, that's been going on for some. It's not $9,000, and it's not till illegals.
Correct.
$500 isn't going to do shit.
No, it isn't.
It
isn't.
That's more of the hand me out instead of the hand me up.
100%.
And Tashara knows this. This is what's happening in the city of St. Louis for our listeners around the country. They're just giving away, not to all families, just
not to all.
Selected families are going to get $500 checks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wonder if that'll be in key voting areas.
I bet it is.
For certain older men or older women.
Correct.
To win their districts.
Yeah.
Donna says, I did see on the front page of my local paper that offerings were going to the defense of priests that abuse children and adults. I was just a bit miffed. I saved the article. If that was there, that would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah, what a day. This is Cancel This Is Always, cancelthisshow.com. We didn't get a lot into what's exactly happening in the Middle East right now, but Israel is preparing to invade to invade Gaza. Biden is expected to go over there by Wednesday, which would be tomorrow. I don't know what he's going to do there, how he's going to help anything, how he's going to change anything, because it is what it is with that situation. But when you have a situation where Israel's declared war on Hamas, it's not going to stop. Mm-hmm. It's just not going to stop. And even if America and Biden is trying to tell them, don't do this, don't do that, they're going. When your people, if there was ever a time to go take care of something, it is now when your people have suffered the way that they've suffered. And even if some people around Netanyahu he can't trust, because I'm convinced they knew about the attack. I mean, like I said, Egypt came out very clearly and said the United States and Israel was warned this attack was coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's interesting, the French president, Macron, he has come out publicly and said you need to immediately release the hostage Mia Shem. Has Biden come out with the names of the 30 hostages who need to be released? I'm sorry, it pisses me off. That gets me fired up when, he's joking and falling up and down stairs, and he is not every day talking about our hostages. Just because the news cycle continues to turn does not mean that these people's names should not be said. Imagine the families, and if your loved ones, your daughter, your wife, your husband, son, whatever, grandparent was locked up somewhere with Hamas right now.
I can't even imagine it. I can't even imagine it. The thought of that is just.
Where's Joe Biden? Where is he talking about this? I don't care if we've sent, and I know I've heard people say it's a complex rescue mission, but Biden hasn't said anything about it.
No. Unless
they're saying things privately to these families and keeping them updated on everything. But after talking to the Schmitz, I have zero confidence that our country is in an ongoing conversation of keeping these families updated on every single move. I very seriously doubt that.
Yeah, I doubt it too. And as Megan is reminding us what we talked about yesterday, he didn't act like he cares. Just a handful of them. It's no big deal. He doesn't need their names.
There just doesn't seem to have been, I don't know, very, very much attention brought to our hostages because of all the death that Israelis suffered, but it's also Israelis who were taken hostage as well.
Mm-hmm.
But you do see at least Macron bringing national attention to a hostage who is there. Where the hell is our American contingent? Where are they?
I'd like.
Where's the uniting message from Biden? There isn't one.
Nope. There isn't.
Another update that just came out in the last hour. Nearly every U.S. senator joined together to back a resolution supporting Israel with its ongoing war with Hamas, the terrorist organization that governs Gaza. It's interesting. Senator Jim Risch, he's an Idaho Republican, by the way. He's the ranking member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. This is a bipartisan resolution, which is good. I mean, what else could there? It should be a bipartisan resolution. So they're supporting Israel, at least from a public standpoint. He says he's also going to continue to put pressure on the administration. By the way, this is the Biden administration to cut off Iranian resources, cut them off. That fueled the attacks. But then you also have people like the United Nations and others saying, well, if you continue to cut off the water and you cut off the food, you're just going to hurt innocents. Well, if you don't do that, then how are you going to get to Hamas? You don't. That's the pressure. That's the problem. That's politics that you have to deal with right now. This resolution that almost every senator signed, like to see who didn't sign it, but I think I have an idea who didn't.
Mm-hmm.
It says that the resolution that says with Hamas, which received support from Iran, was responsible for the unprecedented attack by air, land, and sea on October 7th. So it says the Senate stands with Israel as it defends itself, including Israeli efforts to diminish the threat posed by Hamas. It also calls on all countries to unequivocally condemn Hamas, their war on Israel, including Hamas's intentional targeting of and attacks against civilians. What's the administration going to do? Ball's in your court, Biden.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to cut it off or not? Is Obama going to allow you to cut it off or not?
That's a really good question.
And we sit back and we wait to hear. We sit back and we wait to see what's going on. It's just difficult for me to have any respect for this. Where are our hostages?
Mm-hmm.
This has been since October 7th.
Yes. What's their names? Where are they? What's going on? I heard one dad say,
this would be very easy. You cut off all the funding.
All funding.
And the United Nations, it's like, I don't care if you say Hamas is in bed with innocent civilians. I'm sorry. These people should be able to go to Israel without having to worry about being taken hostage.
Yep.
I'm sorry. You said one dad said what, Lizzie?
Oh, well, I saw one dad yesterday say that if his daughter was missing, he's Jewish and he often goes over there for business. And he was saying that if one of his daughters was dead, and I got the impression that he had a relative over there that is missing. They don't know if they're a hostage or not. But if his relative, who I think it was a daughter, I can't be sure about that, he said he almost hopes she's dead. Because the torture she would be going through would be so immense and so awful, he hopes she's dead. Now that was huge. Think about it. You probably would want your kid dead and not taken as a hostage because what they have to endure day in and day out.
I know. It's
all,
that's why it needs to be talked about.
It does need to be. It's uncomfortable to talk about it. I couldn't even hardly get it out because I'm thinking, what if that was my kid? I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I know. And hopefully something's there because we've got Republicans fighting Republicans on who's going to be the House Speaker.
Correct.
And
yeah, it is. And that's what we're fighting about. And I still think, as this goes back to the beginning of the show, I still think it's good. The outcome will be good. If Jim Jordan is the Speaker of the House, it was worth everything Gates did Some people disagree with me that it's not a big deal. I think it would have been a bigger deal and it would have looked like a shit show if we were in an election year, but we're not. Sometimes you have to cause dissension because freedom isn't free. And if we want liberty, we have to fight for it.
Terry says, I have friends there now. They just can't get out. Yesterday, they said it's worse than what we are seeing here. I don't know exactly what they say is worse. I don't know. We, the peons, are very discouraged.
Yes.
Fervent prayer, in my opinion, needed. Yeah, no doubt about it. Guys, we love you. We appreciate you jumping in for Cancel This every day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, and all the time, of course, on our website, cancelthisshow.com. We appreciate when you like, subscribe, share the show, send us stars on Facebook. When you go to our webpage, you can click the merch. It's a blue button on the front page. You can check out some of our merchandise. There we got a lot of stuff. You support us when you do that as well. And of course, as always, if you know of advertising opportunities for us, people that we can associate with, let us know about that. Also, if you're looking to start your own podcast, your own show, we can try to help you out with that. We have a studio. People are doing that as well. It's one of the best studios throughout the St. Louis metropolitan area. And we just have a great setup here. So let us know. Did we miss anything? Anything else we need to let people know about?
I think we covered a lot. It was a pretty heavy show.
Yeah, it's fastest 2 hours in podcasting, live podcasting at its best. You guys make the show. We're grateful for that as well. Greg, nice job. For Pro Joe and Greg Corral, Lizzie Sparks, I'm Vic Faust. Guys, have an awesome day. We'll see you for the October 18th podcast tomorrow.